Good morning and welcome to another business community support meeting that we've been doing here on Facebook for the last several months, actually. And so welcome. We're going to be talking today about running a business in the middle of COVID and all that that means, especially as we transition into being out and about and doing all the things that we need to do to keep our friends, family, and those around us, coworkers, all safe. So this is broadcast here on the Main Street Fort Dodge Facebook page and also on the Alpha Media YouTube channel. You can catch the show on both of those live. You can also comment live on the show, and we'll do our best to answer any questions or respond to those comments as they're being made. So feel free to comment, like, share with your friends, and let's talk about some things that as those of us running businesses are all having to deal with all at the same time. So those of us who put this together, myself, Jed Burns with Alpha Media here in Fort Dodge, also Kimberly Tiefenthaler with Iowa's SBDC, a regular contributor, also Chris Patrick with Main Street Fort Dodge, and Cheryl O'Hearn with Spin Marketing and Digital. And Cheryl, it looks like it's going to be pretty much just us today running the show, but that's okay. We've got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, it's the Jed and Cheryl show today at 9 a.m. So very cool. Yeah, we do. And unfortunately, Kimberly got called into a mandatory meeting that she needed to do. And I can guess it's because of the SBA new things going through the Senate and the House of Representatives right now in our Capitol, or in the U.S. Capitol, as well as Chris is had another meeting that came up as well, but hopefully she can get on. But we have all kinds of stuff to talk about, and really excited to bring our guests on as well.
Yeah, so we do have a couple guests that we want to talk about today. We've got Jessica Smith with Trinity Diabetes Center, Unity Point Health here in Fort Dodge. And we also have Chris Palm, who's going to be joining us. He's the store manager at the Fairway stores here in Fort Dodge. And I think we're gonna be learning a lot from both of these folks about everything that's going on in their specific industries. So I tell you what, without any more waiting, let's bring Jessica Smith on and let's get to talking about Unity Point, the Diabetes Center, and all the things that are going on there. Good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning.
So, there's just a lot going on when it comes to COVID, and you seem to be right in the heart of it there in the health field. So kind of tell us a little bit about, what you're experiencing on a day-to-day basis. And, what are we seeing here in Webster County when it comes to COVID as of late?
Well, for us as a healthcare organization, the safety and well-being of our community and our staff and patients is our number one priority. So we do try to follow those CDC guidelines. And as you know, things change on a daily basis, sometimes hourly basis. So we try to keep up with that. Just recently, I think it was in the paper yesterday, we changed our visiting hours, and that is to help patients and staff so that they can still see the patient, but also they have those loved ones that can come and visit them. And so we're trying to manage both of that and do what's best for our patients, but still letting them see their loved ones.
Okay, so what do the visiting hours look like now?
They're 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. That helps our staff so that in the morning they can do their cares. That doesn't mean that if someone is going to be discharged home, we can't have someone come in that morning and go over that with them so that they have everything that they need.
Okay, so I mean, it's still a pretty wide area as far as visiting hour goes. We're not talking 1 hour or a half hour or anything like that. There's still some pretty wide visiting hours that are available.
Right. Yep, that's correct. Yep. They just can have one visitor at a time.
Okay, and I think most of the public has kind of gotten used to this idea and that sort of thing. But what sort of response are you guys getting from the public when it comes to visiting hours and the precautions that you're needing to take?
I think as long as we can get it out there to the community and they know and they're aware of it before they come in. We do have our big sign out there letting people know that masking is required as well. So all our staff, patients, anybody that visits here does have to have a mask on if they're in any common area. So as soon as I leave my office, I have to have a mask on at all times. So I think that the response is good because they're aware of it. I think if you let people know what's expected, then it's a better response.
Yeah, I totally agree. So if someone doesn't happen to have a mask, do you guys have masks that are available for people to use, or do they need to bring their own?
We have masks available. We have screening stations when people enter at the entrances, and if they don't have a mask, yes, one is handed to them.
Okay. So one of the things that we've been hearing in the news a lot lately is just patients with additional things going on in their lives, maybe additional health issues, might make COVID a little bit more difficult to deal with, and diabetes seems to be one that we hear of a lot. So what do you guys find in the diabetes center there? What specific precautions do you ask diabetes patients to take?
So diabetes ranks as the 7th leading cause of death in the nation. It affects over 30 million Americans. And so it is a big risk for them. So we make sure to tell them that they need to be social distancing, wearing masks when they're out in public if they have to go out, that make sure that they're taking precautions. When they come here, just as any patient, we do use our PPE with them as well. But that they just are taking care of their diabetes and making sure that it's managed, because those comorbidities, things like diabetes, COPD, heart disease, put them more at risk for developing COVID. So if they're not taking care of their diabetes, that puts them even more at risk.
Okay. So it sounds like, it's not necessarily that there are additional things, but it's that they just need to be more diligent about the same things that we're all asked to do.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Great. Okay. Well, you guys have a fundraising event that's coming up. It's your golf outing. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So we have a Swing for a Cure golf outing every year. This year is our 15th year of it. With everything going on with COVID, we were worried about having something in person. So we kind of brainstormed a little bit and reinvented it. So this year, our format is a little bit different. So teams, so they, if some people, there's a variety of things out there where some people really understand and believe what's going on with COVID, and others might have different opinions on it. So everybody feels comfortable and can make their own decision on if they want to participate or not. We have it going on from July 15th until August 31st, where teams can sign up and they golf on their own, or if they want to golf with another group, we can set them up to golf as they had in the past. But what they'll do is they contact us and we give them a little bit more information about it. And then they go out, sign up for a golf time and submit their scorecards. We'll still have the prizes as we do each year. And we have little gift bags waiting for them out there. We have pretty good gift bags. We have the golf balls that everybody loves that are donated by citizens. We have snacks from Hy-Vee. We have water from Pelham's. There's like drink tickets that they can use. So a little care package for them, even though we can't be there, something to give to them for their day. So it's always a great event, and we have teams that are signing up, but have plenty of room for teams to sign up to be a part of it. And our proceeds, what we do with that money, it helps send type 1 diabetes kids to camp. We send kids to family camp, individual camp. We actually have some kids that have gone since they were younger and now have become counselors. So it's pretty cool. It's something that oops, sorry, my lights just went out in my office. I'm not moving. Sorry about that. It also helps us with our Thrive program that we do in the schools. So we try to do some prevention and get in the schools and prevent diabetes from happening, because it is happening as kids in younger years now, with everything going on with fast food. And we do have a swim program that we also support in the schools that we get kids out and active. And it also helps pay for things, education that our staff does. And then our prediabetes program, which our prediabetes program, we started in 2017. And our average weight loss that we have with each in the group is about 7.8%. And in order for us to keep it going, we have to have an average of 5%. So it's a great program.
Wow, this golf outing that you've got going on has this you've been doing it for 15 years, so it must be a pretty good fundraiser for you guys.
Yes, we've raised over $176,000 over the last 14 years. So
wow.
Yeah.
Well, we definitely want to see that keep going, right? I mean, you've got COVID going on, but there's that doesn't stop the need for a lot of these things. So
right. Exactly. We still need the funds to do the programs that we are doing. Just
Well,
finding
I think-
ways to do it.
I think it's a great creative way of putting this all together and thinking in a different way and still accommodating everybody and bringing those funds in. And actually, it really allows you to have more teams by being able to spread it out that way instead of just on one day having everybody golf. And of course, it's at the Fort Dodge Country Club as well. We need to let everybody know that that's
Yes.
where this is all taking place.
Yes, and Dave has been great to work with. We have information out there as well. So if anybody is interested, they can call us here at the Diabetes Center or call the Country Club, and we can get them set up with the information that they need.
Right.
It had to have been hard as you sort of began this to go, okay, we want to have this fundraiser, but we want to, make sure that we're following all the guidelines and things like that. So how did it come about? How was that decision made to say, okay, we're going to do this, we're going to spread it out over time and, still have it and in this way? How did that decision come about?
Well, we do have a Swing for a Cure committee. So we originally, it usually happens in June every year. So we pushed it to August. But in June, actually May, we started thinking, I don't know if we're going to be able to do this in August either. So what can we do where we can still get those funds? And our committee, everybody, we just had someone say, well, what if we spread it out? And then someone else said, well, what if we can still have everything that we have in all of our stuff. Let's reach out to our sponsors, see if we still have our sponsors. And our sponsors, we've had great sponsors, and they were still willing to donate what they usually donate, just in a different way. And everybody kind of kept adding different things to come up with this idea. So we had a great group working on it.
Yeah, it's just great. And like Cheryl said, I just love to see businesses innovate and find ways to do what they need to do, even when times are difficult and we can't do what we've always done. So congratulations to your team. I hope you guys have a great turnout. If teams still want to participate, what do they need to do?
They can call us here at the Diabetes Center. Our phone number is 574-6350, and we can get them set up with the next steps of what they need to do.
Okay.
And I know they can contact Dave at the Country Club, and he'll be happy to help them as well.
Yep. Yep. Either way, we can take them either way. Dave does a great job at getting the teams to us, and it's great.
Well, very good. Thanks for taking some time and joining us today.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Jess.
Right.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, I mean, what a great thing that they're doing, and I just love that there's an opportunity to continue to participate in that. I'm going to bring Chris Patrick on from Main Street Fort Dodge, who's been able to join us. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning. Yes, I have auditors in. That's always fun, right? I might have to. No, things will be great. I'll log off here pretty soon. But thanks for letting me join this morning. I was hoping to talk a little bit about Shop Iowa, unless Darcy was able to be here.
Yeah, we've got all that on, and we can put you on that. We also have Chris on the line. Chris,
perfect. Let's talk to him first.
Okay, great. Well, let's bring Chris on then. And Chris, let's talk a little bit. Hey, good morning, by the way.
Good morning.
You found a quiet place outside of the store, it looks like.
I finally did, yes.
Well, good morning. Chris Palm from Fairway here in Fort Dodge, the store manager there. We wanted to bring you on and talk about all the things that go into keeping your employees and your guests safe, your shoppers as they come through the store. And my guess is that's been a yeoman's task.
It's been a ever-evolving task since day one. It changes by the minute.
Well, and that's sort of the thing that I think most of our business owners are finding themselves in is navigating, okay, what exactly do I do to make sure that my employees and guests are safe? So walk us through kind of some of the steps that you've taken and maybe the ways that it's evolved over the course of the weeks and months.
I mean, as we started all this, safety was priority. When this all started, everybody went for hand wipes, sanitation wipes, and there was a shortage on those. So instead of just leaving wipes at the front end for customers to grab and wipe off carts and do as they please, we had to implement basically hiring a person or scheduling someone to stand up front and wipe down every cart that comes in before a customer takes it. That's going to be the first thing you see when you walk into the store is somebody's up front wiping down 4 or 5 carts ready to go that are wiped for you. So you can feel safe. I mean, the handles are wiped down, everything's wiped down as you go through the store. And then obviously all our employees are wearing masks. Our first concern is employees. If they get sick, you lose 5-10 employees, it's tough to run a business. You start losing some that are getting sick or anything. So, making our employees wear the masks when they're out on the floor, and anytime they're by somebody, they have to wear them from the time they start work to the time they finish work. And that's just the protocol that we go through now. And every minute of every day, if there's a downtime, we are wiping handles down on coolers, freezers, anything that is touchable is getting wiped down at any time throughout the whole day. It's a never-ending process.
Sure. You brought up employees, and I'd like to touch on that just a little bit more because it does seem in times when I've been through Fairway, you employ a number of teenagers, young adults, maybe perhaps. And what has been their response? Have you been able to keep those employees on staff? Are they finding that they're comfortable?
I would say 98% of the employees are all comfortable with what we're doing, wearing the masks. Keeping them to social distance is a tough one overall, but you just keep reminding them and they figure it out. And it's just, the good news is we're always moving. So nobody's really standing around we're not congregating in one spot. Up front, everything is spread out. We've got the register spread out as much as possible to just keep that distance away from everybody, customers and employees alike. So.
Yeah. So you also brought up, the shortage of wipes. And I think that was probably, we can all remember the great toilet paper crisis of 2020, right?
Right.
As you were dealing with shortage of supplies of specific products, how did you guys handle that? And what was that like on the store end?
When this first started and we've got, everybody went for the toilet paper, the cleaning supplies, the wipes and all that. It was a mess. Thank goodness that our warehouse has been able to put enough together that we're pretty well stocked. Wipes are still at a premium. There are some off-brand wipes that we are getting now, but as far as a Clorox wipe or a name brand wipe, they're still pretty limited. And we've done the best we can to, when this started, we emptied the warehouse. They've got 130 some stores to pull out of the warehouse and everybody's ordering everything. But they've done a really good job of restocking it. There's still products that are out, but we get quite a bit in every day and it changes from day to day. It's so fluid that you never know what you're going to get or what you're not going to get. It's just, we order every day and hopefully we get something to sell.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the case as we've seen as shoppers. What about on the meat counter? What changes have you seen on the meat counter and what things have you implemented as those things have changed?
Our buyers have done a really good job back there. We are not exclusive with one company per se, so they've done really well at researching other meat suppliers, meat packers to be able to keep up with the ground beef and the pork and chicken and all that. They are not out of a lot of things. You might be out of an oddball cut of steak or something once in a while just because they didn't get that processed. But for the most part, the meat department is fully stocked. Prices are up a little bit, but that's just supply and demand. And we're passing on every savings we can to the customer. We're charging what what the supply is, and we're not trying to make any more on it or any less on it. It's all just, it's a normal situation of if this was a normal year compared to the COVID year.
The COVID year, that's right. Well, great. You guys have definitely done a lot. And I know you mentioned that you've got, your people standing up front who are, constantly wiping down those carts. And that's the main thing that we think of. But You also mentioned all the other handles, like in the freezer cases and things like that. How did you even take the time? I mean, how does one identify all the touchable things that are out there in the store?
When this first started, you just kind of walk the store and go, that gets touched every day, that gets touched every day. So you just, at least every hour, somebody walks the store with some sanitizer and paper towels and hits every handle on all the coolers. There's probably over 100+ handles between all the coolers out there and stuff that you got to wipe everything down and keep it sanitized. That's the new normal now, I guess.
Yeah. What about in your checkout lines? How are you keeping people separated and protecting your employees there?
The first thing we did was divide the check stands up. So there's an empty check stand between every one of them. So they're not bunched up, 3 foot apart or together. We've put an empty check stand between each one. So when you come in and it looks like a line, they're backed up maybe a little bit, but we get through them. We've got enough employees to sack and check and get them through there. If we have to, we'll open another one, but we also have all the plexiglass up for the customer and the checker in the check stands. And there's a bottle of sanitizer on every check stands for anybody to use. And each check stand has sanitizer to wipe down pin pads and belts and that in between check stand or check customers, or if they're just standing there and they don't have a customer, they're wiping stuff down.
Yeah, that's the thing that I always find amusing is all the things that I just forget, right? Is that that pin pad on the credit card machine, it's one of those things that maybe you just forget about, but definitely needs wiped down.
Yep.
Can you tell me, Chris, are you guys dealing with any coin shortage or anything like that? We've been hearing over the past few weeks that, coin has been in short supply. How has that been for your business?
It hasn't been too bad. Luckily, our bank has supplied us for the most part. We got word of the coin shortage prior to it actually really hitting hard here, so we were able to stockpile a little bit of it. So we're rationing some, but you're not going to be able to come in and buy a roll of quarters to do laundry. We don't have enough of those, but we have enough that we can take care of every customer, at least for a couple of weeks here. If it continues, it might be a little rough, but right now we're sitting pretty good on that.
Yeah. Now, are you still encouraging or are you even encouraging your customers to use, electronic means if possible?
That's the best way to pay for anything nowadays is the electronic means. It's actually safer and everything else. There's so many fake bills out there that circulate quite a few between 20s and 100s that, your best way is to pay electronically, of course.
Sure. Well, Chris, thanks so much for joining us today and sharing kind of what you guys have going on behind the scenes at Fairway. It's definitely more than what we see as a customer. You guys are busy, and we appreciate all you're doing to keep us safe.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Thanks, Chris. Take care.
Thanks a lot, Chris.
Yep.
A lot going on there. I always just go in and I buy my food and I leave and I don't think much of it, but their team is working hard to keep all of us safe. And gosh, I sure appreciate that. Chris, I want to make sure that we get to Shop Iowa because there's such good information here and really neat stuff that's going on with Shop Iowa for some of our small local vendors. So, and not even really that small, but our brick and mortar businesses. So can you walk us through a little bit what is going on with Shop Iowa and what this is and who it's for?
Absolutely. So Iowa Economic Development Authority is actually hosting this initiative in conjunction with the makers of Shop Where You Live. And they are giving 1 year or 12 months free subscription to this service to all brick and mortar stores with under 20 employees with, I believe, a revenue of $4 million or less. So most of our independent businesses here in Fort Dodge qualify for that. So what this does is allows a lot of those retailers that have never had a retail footprint have access to that and start selling their products. I believe it's up to 25 products online through this platform. And there is selling support also through Shop Iowa. There is that advertising or marketing strategy that the state is putting together on top of what those individual retailers or businesses are doing. And you don't necessarily have to be a retailer, a service business, say, for example, a coffee shop that also has tumblers or coffee beans to sell can access this system. Someone like an accountant, something like that would be a much harder business to promote through Shop Iowa. And on the slide, you can see what customers are saying about this. Vernon, Spencer's, Lamar's was one of the first Main Street communities to jump on board, and they've had resounding success. So what our Main Street program has done, of course, we've sent out the email to all of our businesses that we believe would qualify, but we're following those up in the next couple of weeks with some phone calls or in-person visits, just to make sure the retailers understand it's a very simple process to get online through this process and then upload pictures of your products with a short blurb or statement about those products. And we want to make sure that they do save all of their information as a draft on their end, so they're not losing any of that information. So I believe on this, it's shopiowa.com/sell, and that's how those retailers can jump onto that site. I think we've got one more slide. There we go. So sellers FAQ, and you'll see, that whole list of what they can and what they need to know. So they will be shipping products, and actually Shop Iowa suggests USPS, of course, the United States Postal Service, for priority mail rates and packaging. And they also recommend Shippo for reduced shipping labels. So that's another option for them. And through a Stripe connection, they can use a billing tab. So they are using the Stripe, application for all of that. And they can import products. For most e-commerce products can be imported into that system, and sales tax is collected. So they do need to know that also. So we're really excited that Member Marketplace and IEDA are sponsoring this, really pushing it strongly through Main Street, Iowa, and all the Main Street communities, because most of our small businesses in the downtown are mom and pop shops. Some have never been online before and have really experienced that for the first time in the last 3 months.
What has been their response to those who are just now dipping their toe into the e-commerce world? What are they finding when they go on there?
Well, they're actually finding their consumer, which to some of them is a surprise. If they've never been on before, definitely getting those quality pictures to make sure that they're marketing their goods in the best way possible is super, super important. Real short, quick descriptions of their products, so not long, rambling sentences, just nice, brief summation of what they've got, I think is important also. Some people are still really intimidated by that whole process and concerned about their ability to keep following up with this and making sure that it's sustainable for themselves. So finding creative ways to make sure that that's happening, we're working on it. And thank goodness for Main Street and, like I said, the Market Member Place. And then people like Cheryl and her Spin Market can definitely help these businesses with making sure they have quality products and having just a sound marketing practice in place. I think that's really the main thing, and that they're also marketing themselves on Facebook separately from the Shop Iowa site. So they're really pushing their products out in a variety of ways.
Yeah, can you talk a little bit about what level of adoption we've seen here in Fort Dodge? Are we seeing adoption? Are people working on getting this up locally?
Our rate still is pretty low. So we've still got a ways to go. And I think it's going to really be going into those stores and helping them walk through this process. We've got 3 businesses in the downtown that have jumped on board. Since I'm a Main Street person, I really don't know what the rest of the community's done so far, but I'm really proud of the people that are taking advantage of this. And then also Small Business Development Center, Kimberly Tiefenthaler and Darcy Swan are more than able and willing to help different businesses get on board and walk through that process. So it's not just a Main Street piece, it's really throughout all of the business support organizations and agencies in the state that are trying to help businesses be sustainable online.
So for a consumer, from the consumer end of this, where do they find this? Where are they going to be finding these businesses who are just now getting online and doing these things and using the Shop Iowa marketplace? How do they find that?
So they can go online to shopiowa.com, and there is a listing of all of the retailers or the businesses. And honestly, I haven't been on that side of it too much because I've really been helping the businesses on their end. But they do have regions, so people can look that way. You can also, I believe, type a name of a business in and find that business through that portal also. Great. I wasn't prepared for that one.
Well, one of the great things I think about this too is that for the business, if they get their items on this, part of the expense of being in e-commerce is, yes, there's clients out there, but you also need to bring people to that site. Well, the Shop Iowa portion is doing the marketing for them to bring them to the site. And I think that's an important piece.
I think it really is an important piece. This is not a be all end all, or instead of doing all these other things I'm doing, I'm just going to be on this site. You still have to be diligent as a small business owner. And then again, when you get into that site, there are categories. So depending on how that business has categorized themselves when they first apply to be on the site, I think that is really important also. Apparel and accessories, arts and crafts, again, food or things like this. And then the consumer can also search by type or by the name of that business if they're wanting to see if their favorite business is on Shop Iowa.
Well, it's a neat program, and as you've already mentioned, totally free for 12 months. So why not take advantage of it, especially if this is your first foray into selling things online. There's no better price tag than free to try it out.
Oh, totally, Jed. I totally agree with that.
Well, very good. Well, thanks for coming on. And I know taking a few minutes away from the auditors, maybe it was a nice break to take a moment away from that. But we appreciate you coming on and sharing with us.
Definitely. Thanks for letting me join again this week, and we'll see everybody next time.
Thanks, Chris.
Bye.
Well, Cheryl, let's talk a little bit about some of the things that are going on in, that are just kind of changing as we go along, because there's a lot that's been going on sort of as we go through COVID. Things don't stay the same here. They're changing all the time. And so let's talk about some of these industry trends that are going on due to COVID crisis.
Yeah, these are listed as the top 10 cross industry. So it's not just necessarily in retail or whatever, it's across the board on trends that are being accelerated by the COVID crisis. And of course, number one is virtual experience economy. And Chris couldn't have said it any better with the Shop Iowa project and how important it is for businesses to make sure that their virtual experience is there, their photos are good, their information is good. They need to go in and make sure their Google business profile is up to date on their business page, checking their duplicate, making sure there's no duplicate business pages. And their categories and their descriptions about their business are correct, and their products and services, because all of those things help to be searched for them. And it sounds like a daunting task, but it really isn't much different than them filling out some other type of information. You're just putting it in a different format, and it needs to be virtual. So that's very, very important. And now that we're coming into the fourth quarter, it's even going to be more important. Shop streaming, of course, that's the same thing, or not the same thing, but there's shopping. And so it's businesses having little FYI information about their products, or coffee shop showing making how they make a special coffee that day, or any of those things out there are very, very important for you to get that information out and to show the people more about your business, because they're looking. Video is king, and that's a huge one. Video and then photos.
Yeah, it's a neat thing to bring up, because I think so many times those of us who are running business always want to do a sales message. We think it's always about the sales message. Put the sales message out there. But more and more online, people want to see behind the scenes. They want to learn about your people. They want to see how the sausage is made, shall we say.
Yeah.
They just want to know behind the scenes and learn more about you. That's a big piece of what goes on online.
Exactly. And, just because you think it's boring because you're doing it every day, the people want to know. They want to see that stuff. They want to know what works and what doesn't work, and all those ins and outs. And it also makes you more approachable for them as a consumer. So they're looking for those things, and it doesn't have to be elaborate. It doesn't have to be long or anything like that, but just telling them how your business works. They want to know that stuff. Very, very good. So then, like the virtual companions, that's like your chat rooms and those type of things. Again, those are becoming more and more popular. I was at one of our dental clinics yesterday at a groundbreaking, and some frustration of them trying to get information. They were setting up some new things online because, of course, it was making some switches on some software, and how long they had to stay online, not online, on the phone, on hold. Sometimes as much as 3 hours before they got into the next queue. So that's where the virtual companions are coming in and helping people walk through certain little questions that, instead of waiting for 3 hours, that maybe they can go in and do a chat box or that type of thing. So that's been very important. Now, the ambient wellness end of it, again, is going back to the fact that people are looking at things different. They're looking at a little bit more at home, how they can take care of themselves better. COVID has done that to them, and making them more aware of it.
I definitely think that we're seeing more people who are taking this opportunity to get healthy.
Mm-hmm.
So in their own homes and around their own neighborhoods. I mean, even in my neighborhood, I can't tell you, I've never seen so many people walking with their families just around the neighborhood. And I think it's if we're going to find some silver linings, health and wellness, I think, is one of those.
Yeah, exactly. And so as a business owner, if you bring any of those ideas up, anything, it could be as simple as you talking about, hey, we added new plants to our front window because we wanted something to be a little bit more that green sense on it. I mean, that's how minor that it can be for you, talking about wellness and then talking about how you're taking care of your employees and all those things. People want to know that, and they appreciate your support of your employees and your consumers that are using your products. The mentor to protege, again, you're talking about how you're telling your story and that type of thing. The e-commerce, and again, going back to making sure that your stuff is online the way it is. Number 7's a really a good one, the burnout. And we've all experiencing burnout. There's a video of a 4-year-old talking about how frustrated she's crying. You can go online, it's gone viral. Talking about how everything's closed. My McDonald's is closed. It's so boring going through the drive-through, and on and on. And it is everything that adults feel but aren't expressing. And this 4-year-old is really good. So
if you haven't seen it, she speaks to my heart.
Does she? Okay. Have you seen that video?
Yeah, it's great.
No, it is. It's a good one. So, just remember that burnout you're not the only one burned out. We all are. That's the way it is. open source solutions. Again, it's who are you networking with? Who are you partnering with? This Shop Iowa is another example. Thinking, okay, how do we help the businesses here? And the economic development went and partnered with the marketplace on there. But then on your end, who are you working with? Is there somebody within your business network that you need to do? Or sometimes it's just store next door and they're doing something that maybe you can incorporate. And that's some of the ideas of what we talk about here is, I hope that what Jessica was talking about, how they changed their fundraiser to still accommodate everybody. And again, asking everybody's feedback and coming up with a solution on it instead of just saying, well, we can't do it because we can't put everybody together on one day.
Right. Well, I think people are still wanting to be generous. I mean, we're generous people. We're generous here in Iowa, and I think people want to find those ways to help. And so if you can innovate, you can be creative. I think there's still ways to make sure that those things get done.
Right. And so then assisted development kind of goes back to that networking too, and how Shop Iowa would be another good example of assisted development, showing you how you can take yourself to the next level and get yourself online and getting that done. And then the virtual status symbols, that goes back to, how aggressive you are online and getting that information out there. And if you have something that can go viral or if somebody's going to help promote you, whatever it may be. So those are all things that are totally different. But I think there's a common denominator, and that is being digital and online.
Yeah, you and I talk about this every single week. But if you haven't done it yet, just begin taking those steps. And I know that it's scary. I talk to people every day that tell me it's too daunting. I don't know how to do it. It's scary. And my advice is always the same. Just take the first step.
Right.
And once you take the first step, you figure it out, and then you take the next step. It's the old adage that you eat an elephant one bite at a time. And that's what you do, is you just take the first bite. Once you get in there, you start to realize that it's maybe not as scary as you had first thought. And then additionally, there's tons of resources and folks out there to help when it comes to the ones that you just can't figure out on your own.
We just don't want to see anybody get left behind. And again, that's my business is doing digital, but that's not why I'm saying that. It is what it is. You have to be digital today, no matter what you are. Even nonprofits, government agencies, any retail, brick and mortar, whatever it may be, there has to be some level of digital presence out there.
Sure. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of our community support discussions here on the Main Street Fort Dodge Facebook page and on the Alpha Media YouTube channel. You can always comment and share with friends. If you found anything to be helpful, please share it with your friends, family, other business acquaintances who might get a little bit out of this. Or if you have something that you feel that we need to be talking about, please let us know. You can email us at any of the email address listed here, or if you have a question that you just think, I don't want to share with the group, but I'd love to get somebody's answer on, you can do that as well. Each of us listed here on this screen would love to get your email and share any information that we can with you. That's why we started this as an assistant to our community and to help our businesses get on track when it comes to dealing with COVID-19 and everything that has surrounded it, because we do understand that it's not an easy task, and we want to help in any way that we can. So if you have anything that you'd like to share, this would be the perfect place to do that. So that's going to do it for this edition of the show. Cheryl, it was good to spend some time with you here on this Thursday morning.
Thank you. And next week we are looking at featuring on the farming industry here. So you'll be having speakers and information on what COVID and our farming industry has had to do, which is pretty much knocking on our door here as it be in Webster County and Fort Dodge.
Yeah. All right. Well, an important topic for our area. I look forward to it next week.
Good. Thank you. Take care, everyone, and stay cool.
Thanks, Cheryl. Bye.
Bye.